Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Stage Wrestling. We got Chris Foca, All-American Chris Foca, with us here from Cornell. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Just
Good, bro.
Sunday, you?
Yes, yeah, just trying to enjoy it, big man. Just glad I was able to link up with you and have the time to do it.
Mm. Yes,
But
sir.
we were talking a little bit earlier, but I figured we'd let everybody know like how you got yourself into how you got yourself into wrestling, got your foot in the door. I think it's a
Mm.
pretty cool story.
Yeah. Um, it started when I was 4 years old. I was coming home from school one day and I found a flyer on the ground, and it was for junior wrestling. In my mind, I thought it was going to be like WWE, like I was going to be Undertaker or Jeff Hardy or something like that. But I obviously wasn't. But from there went into junior wrestling, and my dad wrestled in high school and college, and yeah, he was my coach from then on.
That's awesome, man. That's definitely. I tell you what, Nick Bouzakis he's a freshman down at Ohio State. Kind of has a similar story. They walked past a Dunkin' Donuts, him and his dad, and he saw the sign and just happened to be on the right there, hooked to the Dunkin' Donuts, and that's how he got into it. So
Mhm.
kind of crazy to hear how some guys get into it. Even some of the women how they got into it. So I
Yeah.
always like to ask and see how they got it. Most of the time it's just, hey, dad threw me on a mat. You know what I mean? That's 90% of it. But that one there, buddy, that's crazy.
Mm.
But I through so how yeah, we'll start off with your high school career because I got some stuff. So you two-time Beast of the East champion. You ranked third nationally at 182. New Jersey State champion, five-time member of U.S. Wrestling National Team from Bergen Catholic, which
Mm.
is what a resume, brother. And tell me a little bit about how it went down there at Bergen, like the coaches, how the state championship went, just how your overall career down there at Bergen Catholic was.
Yeah. I remember talking about going there in middle school with my dad because that was the best wrestling school in the state, for my opinion. I didn't want to go to Blair because I'd rather keep it within the NJSA. Um, but yeah, I mean, it didn't get better than that. It was 10, 15 minutes away. It seemed feasible, and once we figured out we could make it work, we didn't really look back. There was nowhere else that had that type of exposure. You know, we went to Beast of the East, we went to these tournaments in California, we got dual meets in Chicago. So, um, yeah, I mean, in terms of exposure, top talent wrestling, like, really didn't get much better than that. But I've seen definitely a different filter of guys coming through. When I was a freshman, my team had Nick Suriano on it. He was my drill partner. So he was 126, I was 132. So we wrestled every day for a whole year, and he just beat the crap out of me. It was an experience, but it was fun. Um, from there, I didn't ever really have that bad of a season at Bergen. Um, I mean, the end of my freshman year, I was two seed in state, and I didn't place. I went 1-2, lost in the quarterfinals. So um, sophomore year took third, junior year made the finals and lost to Mickey O'Malley, who's at Drexel now. He's a friend of
Yep.
mine. Uh, in senior year, I finally won states. I beat John Poznansky, who's at Rutgers now, another All
Yep.
American. But yeah, I felt like that was definitely a way to end the high school career. Went out to Fargo, won it there, won two Beast titles, and I'm really proud of the things that I've done. Definitely fell short in a few ways, but uh, definitely put me back in the room and got me working on things that definitely needed to work on. So wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I'll tell you what, whatever journey has led you, like, and it took that maybe some of them valleys through it all to get you to where you are now, and it's worth the ride. 'Cause, buddy, you're right up there with some of the baddest dudes at 174. I mean, it, I didn't know that you wrestled O'Malley though. That's I mean, so all you guys are in the EIWA, and like really, it's you got O'Malley, you, and Ben Pazook from Army, like
Yeah.
up there. And like you three pretty much and Benny's from like the same area. I'm from Ohio. He's an Ohio kid, Carrollton, Ohio, small town out here in Ohio. And I feel like New Jersey, it used to be like a PA Ohio thing, like you always heard, but man, Jersey is putting it's on the map. It's on the map heavy, and I feel like they might have the best wrestling. I mean, I think them and PA are neck and neck, and that's coming
Yeah.
from an Ohio guy, so it's not easy to say it.
Mm.
But man,
I appreciate
you
it.
guys, yeah, you guys, and for what you've done, and when you look at it, a second, a third, and then finally getting the win, it you it worked out, and then you step into your first year there at Cornell, and how are you feeling about where you are, what's going on with how your freshman year went?
Yeah. So through high school, I felt like I definitely got better and better each year, and I felt like senior year when I finished that up, I had a real good season. I was riding a high wave. I won Fargo, I won Beast, I won the states, and I came into the room thinking maybe not that I was going to be beating everybody, but I thought it was going to be like I was going to just roll right into it and start anew, really. And it was pretty far from that. You know, I was the number three guy in the country in high school at the time, so I I thought I was going to start off pretty well, but won't forget. Probably 2 weeks into practicing, I'm getting whooped. I'm wrestling Max Dean, Gabe Dean, Kyle Day, Scotty Boykin, and Ben Darmstadt, and they're just mopping the floor with me, really. Uh, but the kicker was 2 weeks in, probably, and wrestling my teammate. He's 157, two weight classes lower than me. And I just won Fargo and Greco, so I'm thinking, oh, I could go upper body, I could throw. And I just got tossed for five. And I was like, okay, this is, I'm
Different
starting from
level.
scratch here. I just need to take it with a grain of salt, keep being resilient, coming back to practice, and definitely getting better. So I definitely got some whoopings my freshman year for sure, but I took it with a grain of salt, kept coming back, and felt like I definitely got better in that first year.
Oh, 100%. And it shows because then you step foot into your sophomore year. You go 24-8, and your first team all Ivy, and you qualify. You're an NCAA qualifier,
Mm-hmm.
and you started I mean, the season off at 14-1. You know what I mean? So like you come in, and I know me personally as somebody that I was like, where's who's Chris Foca? Like where, you know what I mean? Like kind of under the radar, and then all of a sudden you're 14-1, and it's like, whew, this he's something else. And then you get to the NCAA's, and you're as a sophomore, like what with going 1-2. Um, how do you feel? Like, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you wanted a better outcome, but like, what'd you take away from that?
There were definitely some hardships that I'm gonna call it freshman year too because that was my first NCAA
Yeah.
season. So there are definitely some hardships. I started off real strong. You know, I was gunning it. I was wrestling with Makai Lewis and Cater Starocci, and we were having real tight ones. And I feel like I started the season off really strong. But then I got a concussion wrestling O'Malley and the Drexel dual meet, and that pretty much just altered the rest of my season. I had like a weight plan and all that, and after that, I kind of just let my head injury get to me. I think if I could go back in time, I would definitely change the way that I handled it. But my weight got a little out of control, and I was coming down from a lot. And by that time, it was the end of February, so the EIWAs were around the corner, and that's not a time to really let things loose. So, um, yeah, went into the NCAA tournament. Actually, I injury defaulted out of the Easterns. I got hit in the head again, and
Yeah, because you won your first two, and then ended up injuring out. And I was wondering, I didn't know about the head injury. So
yeah, injury defaulted out of the semis, but I had enough slack with my record and accolades to get me a wild card. So, um, yeah, got to the national tournament and just didn't perform. Lost first round to a guy that I've beaten before. Won the second round, won the rest of the first round to make it to the second day. Then lost a fine silver from Duke to
yeah.
lose out. And yeah, I mean, I definitely could have done better, but that after that was said and done, I looked over at Mike Gray and I was like, I'm not going to let this happen again. Like, this feeling sitting down here in the tunnel, just watching everybody else compete sucks. So Uh, I'm not going to let my weight be a problem anymore. I'm going to come back and we're going to make it work. And that entire summer, I ran out in the heat every day and made sure my weight was good. Came back
About
the next
3 miles a day, huh?
3 miles a day.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Um, but yeah, I used that as fuel. Really, I didn't sit on that too much. I actually started that next week. I didn't take much time off, and I ran all summer. Made sure my weight was good. Strength trained. Was in there doing extra workouts and stuff. Really trying to hone my skills in, and yeah, I feel like it paid off this season. My weight was good. I felt strong. I felt good. I had a diet plan, and I'm
Absolutely.
going to keep this rolling for the next 2 years as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, like you said, we'll call it your sophomore year because really, I mean, like it's your second year being able to go. You end up going 30-2 with your only two losses being to two national champs,
Mm.
and you're talking 3-2, and one of them I believe was in overtime, 3-1 against Mackay.
That
Or
was
was that
last
the year
year.
before? That was the year
Yeah,
before. Yeah, that
this
was,
year
and
is really
so
good.
these boys have been right, right. I mean, you're right there with two national champs all day. And actually, so you end up placing third, 174, and the whole season you end up with a 50% bonus rate. So I mean, last year the leap that you made from sitting in that tunnel and whatever happened in that tunnel after the first NCAA, it took you to dude, it rocketed you to a whole nother level of Chris Foca. Like it was fun to watch. It really was. And actually, who did you lose to at the NCAA's?
I lost to Carter Starocci in the
What I
semifinal.
thought. How bad? And what was the final score of that?
It was 6-0. I got taken down twice. He got out and got a ride.
And then you get Mackay for third and fourth,
Mm.
and get that redemption, which was such a beautiful or such a beautiful third and fourth match. It was
Yeah, appreciate it.
you you and I feel like in your head you probably because you had I mean you just the whole year like well, from the EIWAs you kind of made them look easy. You know what I mean? Even in the finals you win 10-5 against Pazoo, and
Mm.
then you go and you're just up until Starocci in the semi. Uh, you just had such a great tournament. And was it just a mind state that you tried to get into, like that different from last year? Like, hey, I'm just this ain't gonna happen. We're gonna go out here. I'm a different guy, different mentality. I put the work in, and now it's time to show the world.
Yeah, I mean, you could ask my coaches last year. I was really timid with a bunch of stuff. My weight was also an issue with it too because I knew that I had a limited gas tank. So I wanted to score where I could and then ride out my energy so I wouldn't expel all of it in one match. Yeah, this year, like I really felt on top of my game. I know I have a very weird style of wrestling. I do unorthodox stuff that people just don't do, haven't seen, and
Absolutely, especially for that weight. Like you're for 174. Like you are very unorthodox, but it makes it fun to watch, bro. It
yeah,
does.
it's fun to do. Really, when I'm out there and I'm hitting weird stuff and it's working, like weird rolls and just hit maneuvering and all that. It's fun to do. But I really honed in that skill this year with Donnie Vincent. He we really tried to tame that wild. So when we went out there, it was just wasn't holding back. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna score points. I'm gonna do weird stuff. I'm gonna have fun. Most of all, I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna enjoy what I'm doing, and good things are gonna happen. And when I was out at nationals this past season, yeah, I was just letting things flow. I felt this was the best I felt on the mat in my life, and I was just I was flowing. I was being myself, and it ended up working. So,
Ain't nobody gonna take that from you, brother. It, you definitely are somebody that I like, and I said this to you before, not on lot or on our recording here, but I truly believe that there's one person, maybe possibly two, that can stop Starachi from getting the fourth. You are one of those two, and I'm not just saying that because we're sitting here talking like. he's really tough. He's good, and I think if how do you stop him? Like in your opinion, what do you need to do to make yourself on that level to be able to stop him from getting a fourth title?
When I wrestled him this past season in the semis, he felt real strong. You know, he shut my offense down. He knew that if I get an inch, I'm probably going to take a mile. If I could get to a foot or something like that, I could turn into a scramble or anything like that. So he did a real good job of shutting down that weird offense, or any offense really. He got to his leg attacks, and he scored where he was best. He made me wrestle his match. So I'd say, like, just go out there and chip away. It starts with the hand fight. It starts with the handshake. Get to the hand fight. Start small. Move him. Stay heavy on his head. Get to his legs. He's really stingy. It's really tough to score even an escape on him. He's not one to give up points very easily. So you got to fight tooth and nail. And it's a match that you're definitely going to have to go in knowing that it's going to be a war. You're going to come out on the other side and you're going to be tired. But depending on what round it is, you might be a finalist. You might be a champ. But I mean, I'm going to be working. I'm going to be coming. So I
And
got
it's awesome for you to even be able to, because like I mean, the way I look at it is like you could be such a giant part in history, and regardless, I think you're going to. I mean, I think even as a two-time national champ, or I think you're just going to keep getting better. And to be honest with you, like I say this to a lot of people, but I mean, and I don't just say it to say it, but I really do think your best wrestling's ahead of you.
yeah,
And
appreciate
because I mean it shows on paper. I'm sitting here looking at it, and like you steadily get you get better every year. So for me to not say that doesn't, it's only makes sense for you to take another step. And I think that you have a legit goal this year, and I I hope you get it, buddy. Honestly, I do.
it. Appreciate it.
I'll be rooting for you, because it's a tall task. It is. I mean, I
Yeah,
think Starocci's one of the best wrestlers in the last 10, 15 years that's been on the mat. So but I think it'll just cement a legacy for Chris Foca. You know what I mean? I think it really will. And I think everybody's looking forward to seeing that matchup again.
yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate it. You know, he's definitely a guy that's on my hit list, and um, Matt Ramos did it, so
Exactly. I mean, look, he's everywhere right now, buddy. And it was, and he was down like 7-4 with just seconds to go, and puts one of the greatest wrestlers, like another one of those people that just Spencer just you don't see very many of them come out of high school like that, just dogging people as freshmen. So anything's possible, man. And I think Ramos has got a bright future ahead of him, and you're right there. And I think you got the right mentality. You got you're where you want to be with it, right?
mhm.
So what's next? What do we do from what's next on the Chris Foca? Like what are we after you got this internship you're doing now, and then is it just back to Cornell and back to grinding, getting ready for the season?
Yeah. As soon as I'm done in Dallas, I'm heading back to Ithaca. We're going full steam ahead, getting ready for nationals. So, um, but yeah, gonna go through these next 2 seasons. Then after that, I got Worlds and Olympics on my mind.
I
So
like that. I like that.
yeah,
Have
I
you
don't
did?
want it to just end in college.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, you're offensive, and you have too much. Now, are you still? I know you made some Greco teams. So do you still mess around with Greco at all, or is it strict? Are you going to just stick to the freestyle circuit?
No, not much Greco. I'm on freestyle. So
That'll,
just focus on
yeah,
freestyle. When
if it,
college ends, it's gonna be freestyle.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense, though. I think your offense is too good. Now, this summer you didn't jump on for like nothing like that. You kind of just stayed. Did you jump on anything freestyle this year?
No, so actually, first round of NCAA's, I was wrestling Kale Valencia from Arizona State, and I sprained my ankle.
Ooh,
So I wrestled through the tournament with it. I tried not to show it, but at the end of the tournament, my ankle was on fire, and I needed some time to recover. So missed the U.S. Open, and when it was good enough to wrestle again, I came back out, and by that point, I was going to Dallas in 6 weeks. I probably wasn't going to be ready back in time to be on my A game for U23. So I was just going to the room every day. I was practicing to stay in shape, but I was there to be more of a resource to my teammates and the guys that needed me. So all those senior guys, all the guys that went to U20, U23, I was just trying to be a good partner for them and make sure that they were getting the workouts that they needed. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what. What do you think of this new 3-point takedown rule? You liking it, or what do you think about that?
I like it because I think it's crazy how you could take somebody down twice in the first period, they could get out. It's 4-2. Then start of the second, they get out, and it's a 1 point match. And you're
I
like,
agree.
I
I
did all
agree.
the work, you just got out. So I
Yeah, I
think it's
loved it.
definitely more fair. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, what do you think?
I absolutely loved it. Because I thought the exact honestly, you're the first person that actually said it the exact same way I did. Like, I think I've watched you do it. Like, I've watched you take a guy down 5 times in the first period, and then it's 5-10 at the, you know what I mean? It's 10-5 at the end of the first, and it's like, man, he should be up by like he just smoked him the whole first period. You know what I mean? And he's only got five. Well, he's one move. I mean, feet to back, and next thing you know, I mean, you're down a point. You know what I mean? Like, not
Yeah.
saying that the kid would, but it doesn't make sense. So I absolutely love it. What did what about the one that they thought about doing with the riding time, like it taking away the riding time unless you turned them? It didn't end up going through, but if
I was going to say, did
did you
that
like?
pass? I didn't think it
No,
passed.
no,
Okay.
that didn't. That's the only out of the 14. That's the only thing that didn't. But it was you. I wasn't a fan of that because I feel like it's like you trying to ride a bull for 8 seconds, you do it, but then it's like, hey, that's not a fair. Like it's not enough. You got to get off and drop kick it too, or something. You know what I mean? Like it's just
I think that not passing was definitely fair too because it's not easy to ride somebody out in college. It's
I
like it's taxing, it's hard. You got to work for every second. So that extra point is like it's a reward for being able to hold that guy down for a whole minute. With the turn or without the turn, if you're on top, then kudos to you. But um, yeah, I'm not a fan that you should be able to get that point if only if you get the turn. I think
yeah,
that I think it's. I mean, also riding time is like it's an integral part of college wrestling. Like you realize you get out of high school and bottom is now all of a sudden like one of your forefront things to work on because you need to learn how to get out. So I think riding time should definitely remain the same in college.
I agree. I couldn't agree more, buddy. If you had to work on one, when you look at it, like what if Chris Foca wants to focus on one of his, whether it's neutral, down, riding top, like if you had to better one of them, what's the three you think you need the most to work on? Because I honestly, when I look at it, it's hard for me to sit there and be like, man, what does he need to work on? Like I struggle trying to find a weak spot in your game. Like there's a reason why you're finishing third at the NCAA's in a nasty weight class.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure my coaches can agree with me when I say this, but I'd like to get a little better at hand fighting. My hands and feet usually in the right place at the right time. I'm usually doing the right things, but sometimes my hands could get a little lazy. I could hang a little bit. I could be on my heels. So if there's one part of my wrestling game that I can perfect, I think it'd be hand fighting. A strong hand fight, as good of an offense as it is, it's also a great defense. If I'm hand fighting and I'm doing it well, you're probably not going to be able to shoot on me.
Yeah,
So I would definitely clean that up the best that I can.
I like it though. And I guess that's one part that I didn't because I just look at you as you. If I had to pick a style, I would you remind me of like a chain wrestler, like to where it's just like you take a shot. If it don't work, you're just working for something at all times. And uh, it I so I can respect that answer because it's probably one part of your game that I really wasn't zoned in on when I was looking into everything here. But to be fair though, like if you what's it take to beat the Staroccis? I mean, you got several national champs like the Staroccis, the Mackays, like everything. Like I think a lot of people would want to know like what did it take to finally like break that barrier, beat Mackay, to be able to go 3-2 that your freshman sophomore year with Starocci. But what are these guys doing that everybody else isn't that makes it so? I know, like you were saying, Strachey stingy and stuff, but like Mackay, kind of just like what makes him so much different than everybody. else to separate.
I mean, he's stingy as well. Actually, me, Makai, and Carter go way back. I think the first time I wrestled Cater Starocci was in the War at the South Jersey Shore finals when I was 10 years old, 10 or 11.
Ah,
He was wrestling for Team Erie, PA. I was wrestling for my dad's wrestling club. And yeah, he ended up beating me in like overtime or something like that. Makai, he's 2 years older than me, and he wrestled my brother a lot, my older brother. He was always older and bigger than me. So I didn't wrestle him the first time until I was a sophomore in high school. But I mean, we've realized each other's game for some time now. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times passed since 2016. That was when I wrestled Makai. So
yeah, absolutely.
since then, he won a U23 world title. He was a national champ. Like things, like he got way better. He was already real good then, but he's real strong. He moves quick. He's very stingy with points as well, and I think you'll see that a lot in these national champs. These guys do not concede points. Doesn't matter if
Yeah.
it's safe. Doesn't matter what it is. These guys are holding position, and you're going to beat them if you break their position. But breaking their position is obviously really tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
But going
Especially
into
Mackay, I've watched him. I've watched people get a single on him, and him just like, dude, like walk all the way back and forth with him like on one leg, and it's like, dude, like, how do you take this man down? Like he can stand on one leg for a minute and a half.
and I'm one of those people. I've picked up Makai's leg. I've shot it on singles, and it is tough to finish on. I don't think I've taken him down with the single in college. I've walked him out of bounds. I've picked him up. I've never taken him down off of that single. So he's got those strong legs and really incredible defense. But in that third place match, we were both beat up. I think he like dislocated his hand or something like that, his finger, and my ankle was busted. But it was a war match at that point. It was who wanted it more, and we were both pushing in hard on each other. We were trying to tire each other out. We both got an escape. We went in OT. I mean, it wasn't like it was a dull match. We weren't just standing there. Like we were shooting, we were scrambling. There were just no dice, no points getting scored, and we get into the rideouts. I try holding them down as long as I can. I'm using as much energy as I can. I got 40 or what? I got a minute left in my college season, so I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, we're going. I put the jets on. I start running him, try to keep him down, and he still gets out. So I have 18 seconds to get out, and of the 30, I have 18 of slack that I gave myself, which is not a lot. It's a pretty short amount of time. I would have liked the full 30, but yeah, I get out. I get up to my feet. He drops down to a leg, and I'm like, no, he doesn't have a stall call. Luckily, I was near the line, and I tried to salvage as much time as possible, and I just kicked right out of bounds, tried to pull him with me. And I go back. I only wasted 6 seconds. I had 12 left. I'm like, all right, it's now or never. I just started rolling around, hip heist, and I turned, and I actually got away. And I'm in front of him, and I don't even see the time. I don't even know if I'm winning at this point. I just hear the crowd go, and I was like, oh, I was like, okay,
That's
let's go.
awesome, dude. I'm telling you, look, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, like
That's
he,
that's the best part about this sport.
like I just heard the crowd, and I was like, I think I got it. And then he shoots in, I sprawl, I have him in a chest wrap, and I look over at the clock, and I saw I had 4 seconds left, and the time ran out, and man, that was a great feeling.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. That's great. That's shoot, that was a good story though. I'll tell you. What you got me, I'm ready for some NCAA seasons now, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great feeling. Sorry, I'm getting murdered by these mosquitoes right now.
Oh, buddy, I'm telling you, I've been right where you're at. And like, I was in Dallas, Fort Worth down there for, I run heavy equipment. So, like, we was down there for some, and they do, man, it gets wicked down there. That heat's
Yeah.
the heat of the devil when the mosquitoes come with him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
These mosquitoes are crazy, but yeah, I'm not used to this heat. It's like I think it's 97 right now. This is like the hottest day of the summer up by me. So
Oh, it is. It's hot here. I mean, Ohio, buddy. So I can't. And you're a Jersey boy. So like, yeah, that's like we don't like that kind. I tell you, I flew down. I was down there for 10 days, and I was like, and I'm a Cowboys fan. So like, I was all pumped. Like, man, I could check out the stadium. And I was like, nah, I ain't leaving the hotel. Like, I don't even want to walk out, man. Like,
I
unless
got
I have to.
Hmm.
But well, man, I'll tell you what. I mean, after all said and done, Chris, you're 54-10 after 2 years. You got heck of a challenge here ahead of you this season. We know what you're aiming for, and I promise you, brother, I wish you the best of luck, and I'm gonna let you quit getting ate up. And
Not good. I appreciate it. So
hey, no, man, and I promise you, man, even us Ohio people, anybody like we're definitely behind you, man, rooting for you, and I really hope that hope you can get that, man. Go get on top of that podium. You
yeah,
deserve it, man.
yeah, I do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for taking the time, man. I appreciate you. You've been you the minute you got my email or message, you jumped right on it. So I appreciate you jumping on the platform, man, and letting people hear your story a little bit and
Yeah, of course.
how you. So it's been a blessing, man, and I appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm glad to be on your podcast, and I'm glad you took the time to do this for me. So this is great.
100%, man. I'll just like and follow and jump on, and hopefully I hope that we can do this again here in a couple of years, man, and we could talk about how you won that national championship and knocked off that kid getting a four-timer.
Yep, that's the plan.
All right, my man. Well, you take care of yourself, and I'll be in touch, bud.
Yes, sir. Of course.
All right, big guy.
All right.
Take care.
You too.